Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another installation of SUP Confessions, coming at you straight from the Muddy Water Paddle Company studio. I'm Erin Sullivan with Muddy Water, here to interview some of my good friends who just completed not 31, but 32 miles on the Chattajack Race. The river, is it the Chattajack River?
Tennessee River.
The Tennessee River is called the Chattajack because
It's in Chattanooga.
it's in Chattanooga.
And you'll get jacked up.
You will get jacked up, either training or while racing. So we're going to go through what made it such an incredible journey for each of these people leading up to the race and during the race. So I'm going to start with Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve Babcock. I live here in Baton Rouge. Before talking with Erin, she and I were discussing how in the past we've done races and just sort of jump in and see what you can do. And I think a big shift for me was to have intention and agency and get in the race. I missed the May 1st, May 1, remember that day. I missed that deadline, got on the wait list, and then for a while I did nothing because I thought, maybe I won't make it. And then Tim called me and said, you're in. And at that point I didn't panic, but tried to get a training program, set out a course of work that could get me there, and that was a really big shift for me, and it was quite helpful. It gave me a lot of confidence because I knew what I had to do on a daily basis to kind of get there, and then in the race it helped me be more competent. You know, I could not have finished without that plan, so I had good coaching, had some good workouts, and I don't know, I felt like it really gave me a longer view, and then during the race I was able to tap in ways that I would have tapped out without the training. It's not a race that you should take lightly. It's quite beautiful, but it's very challenging, and I would welcome more people to do it, but again, you should have a plan, and I feel good about it. I'm going back for sure.
Okay. Would you have been able to complete this race this time last year?
No, and in fact, I was on the wait list yet last year, and about 2 months out, my name popped to the top of the list, and I had about, I think, 72 hours of embarrassment, and then I let it drift away because I knew from what people told me, and then Jason had really kind of talked it up, and I could see it was something I wanted to do, and I just want to challenge myself to do, but absolutely not, no.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. Well, Tim, I want you to talk a little bit. Steve had one-on-one serious coaching along with the group, but you said that the peer support aspect of it really helped you. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing for me was the support of everybody that trained for it and went this year. Jason and Christy talked about it from last year, and it sounds like this big epic event, but you hear about the conditions and you hear about the training that's involved and the distance. You know, it's 2.5 times as farther than I've paddled since last year. So, you know, that gets in your head. You kind of question things. But seeing everybody out there encouraging. In fact, you know, when I signed on the wait list, half hoping that I wouldn't get picked.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I got picked and then got called up at the register. And then these guys just kept being positive about everything, positive about the race. There was no negativity about it, just out there grinding and pushing. And knowing that somebody's out there every day training or paddling helped me get out there on those days that I don't want to be out there, days that I feel lazy. So just the encouragement of everybody, you know, as a group really helped me get through the training. And then on the water during the race, just seeing all 500, 600 people out there, really, it puts all those fears and things to rest, because, you know, you're out there with everybody's pushing through together. You know, so that was the biggest thing for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim.
Sure.
So pushing through, I want to talk to Donny B. Donny.
Yep.
Talk to us about pushing through, because I heard a little from you about this race, and then there was a race earlier this year. So it seems as though life has given you a theme this year of surviving races.
Yeah, I'm Donny Boudreaux, thank you, Erin. And yeah, we've had some tough ones this year. We had one at the very beginning of the season called Shark Bayou. which was near Sycamore Point State Park. And on that morning, there were relentless winds that were blowing the entire time we were paddling, basically. And as you change direction, that wind just wanted to take you wherever it wanted to take you. So it was really important to pay attention to that and try and work around it. And unfortunately, in that one, I didn't make good decisions, and it cost me. And sometimes it's directional or just being too far offshore. Those winds can wreak havoc on you. And in Chattajack, too, there were a lot of challenging conditions. It's a very long race, and conditions will change, or rain, or stop raining, the wind will be hitting you in the face. Times it'll be coming from the side. Luckily, some of the time it was at your back, which was helpful. And in that race, too, at one of the stops where you can take a break or get some nutrition, I opted to stop at the dock and sit down for a while because it was, my feet were killing me. I had made a decision, again, kind of shouldn't have made that decision to put some arch supports in my booties to kind of thinking that would help me in the race. And I think it probably hurt me in the race. So you really got to think through the things that you're going to do, you have on your board, how you're going to do it. You really need to practice those things before you get to race day. So luckily I was able to, pull myself together. I thought about when I was on that dock, maybe just not continuing on. But, I'm certainly glad I did. I knew, that I wanted to get that completion and that medal and say I had done it. I told the guys immediately after the race that, this is a one and done for me. But I'm already starting to think, I think I better go give it a better effort.
Yes.
Yes. Nice.
Thank you, Donnie. Jason, I want to hear from you, since you were on the same race last year, how it was different this year going with your tribe, or a big part of it. I know the tribe is much larger than this.
This is the core group.
This is the core training racing group.
No.
So what made it different this year?
For sure, with two of us, myself and Christy, going to paddle last year, doing the race, it was fun. I had a blast the whole race last year, even though it was an ass kicking. I've talked to you plenty of times about this race. What I wanted was for more people and more of my friends to go and experience what Chattajack has to offer. The city has electricity, and that that's a big part of it. What Chattanooga puts on for this whole event. The volunteers are insane. The race director, Ben, is amazing. Those guys put on a hell of a race. I'm a part of a race crew. I know what it takes, and they do top notch, top to finish, start to finish. But having these 5 people right here sitting with me, made it super cool. We stayed all at Airbnb. So we were with each other from Thursday to Sunday. It was awesome. We'd eat together. We'd play together. We would train, Christy got in the living room Friday night and stretched us all. We're gonna do this stretch, we're gonna do this. And it's for sure a team, and the bond that I have with these guys now has gotten stronger through those 3 or 4 days up in Chattanooga, without a doubt. But what I took from this race this year was, I love the tailwind. That was amazing.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I think everybody had fun. I've talked to everybody a little bit about their own race. I think everybody had fun. I know they're all glad they did it. I know he was hurting for sure afterwards, but we got him back and he's already kind of making that turn like, yeah, I do want to go back. There's something about it that draws you in. And I'm not sure, I know a few of these guys have done some ultra marathons before on their feet. And she's done it before already, but like, these guys are ultra marathons now. You know what I mean? And yeah, it is on the water, but to me, that's harder than a run.
Yeah.
Because you're in the element. You can't just stop and sit down. I mean, yeah, you can stop and sit down on your board, but when you have a 30-mile-an-hour headwind punch you in the face, you're going backwards. So what Donnie touched on a minute ago, just putting your head down and pushing through it, you have to do that, or else you're not going to finish. Or you're going to be super pissed because you could have dug a little bit deeper and got across that finish line and drank probably the world's best chocolate milk you've ever had in your life.
Thank you so much, Jason. Jimmie,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to hear about the last few miles.
So yeah, I think 27 through 32 was the hardest for me. I stopped at 27, took a recovery shot, got some food in me, and took back off. But somewhere in between the last 5 miles, I came off my board for the first and only time, rolled my cord around me, my leash around me. So I took that off. Then I started cramping, and then I started catching a big headwind. So yeah, it was way more than I ever thought it was going to be as far as the headwind and the conditions. You know, I just thought we're going to hit a river race. We do river runs all summer long, but this is definitely a whole different river that we were facing this time. You know, and I think I took a lot from it, and I'm ready to go back and try to do it again.
Yeah, I like that. Can't keep you down, Jimmie.
No, ma'am.
Okay, Christy, I saved you for last.
Aw.
It's third place.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Third
The one podium
place.
finisher out
Yeah,
there.
that's the one right there.
Podium finisher.
For me, last year I did Chattajack with Jason, and my goal this year was just to do better, because I felt like we were students last year, and the race for me was so much more about the journey, because it's, there's this whole journey to get up to the race, because you're training and you have to get your head straight and your insides well, and then all the planning that it takes, and then there's this whole journey through the river, and so you have to bring what you learned from all the races that you did all season. And I didn't really feel like I had the best race season this year, or there was a lot of interesting ups and downs for me, and so I had to apply all of that to this race so I could actually do better. And so that was my goal, was just to do better than what I did, and I went in with a good head. I felt confident, and you're with 650 other people out there, and then you're with your friends, which are like your family now. And so it's just so much about there's this journey that you go through to get there, and then there's that whole journey, and then when you finish, it's just this amazing feeling, because you did it, like all that hard work, because it is a lot of work and a lot of training, and it's been great the last few weeks just to kind of have a break. You don't realize that your head really needed a break from it. But as everybody said, the last few miles were pretty tough. I always feel I always have a thing with the wind, and many people have heard me say that I find the wind to be very spiritual, because sometimes it's soft and breezy and gentle, and then sometimes it just kicks you in your butt and is really hard and tough. And that happened at the race too, and so whenever I did feel that wind kind of hit me in the face, it was challenging, and it was just like, I accept this challenge, because it's like, I'm used to this wind, and this wind, I'm going to get through it. And that was kind of my spiritual moment, was dealing with the wind on the last 3 miles. And it was also tricky, because at one point, like when you had that tailwind, it felt so amazing, and it was just so wonderful to be pushed along. And then the last 3 miles, I was like, oh, we might actually have like the sun come out. And then when you turn the corner and then you're faced with 40 miles per hour wind gusts, you're like, no, that's not what's gonna happen. And you kind of had to just fight your way through it. And you did sit on the board, and you sitting on the board, you did kind of wonder, like, I can see the finish line. So there is no way in hell you're about to quit, but you're not even moving anywhere, and no one else by you is moving either, because the wind's blowing so hard. But you just know that you just have to keep going, even if you're moving an inch. You just got to keep paddling. And then when you finally finished, it was just kind of like this, I made it through wind that I've never experienced in my life. And the other day I went to go paddle, and there was somebody out sailing, and I was paddling, and so that meant it was pretty windy, but it just made me smile, because it was like, I got this. This is no trouble whatsoever. Bring it on, we've got it. We're gonna do this.
So I love that. And it just, to me, is a metaphor for life. And for any of you, does completing something like this, does it transfer over into your personal life and, you know, things that are just as hard as a 40-mile or whatever mile headwind, but it's life that's hit you in the guts? Do you find that completing things like this, like 32-mile hard race where you're enduring a lot, does that transfer?
Absolutely, because like, you know, I finished in like 7 hours and 30-something minutes, and I actually thought I was going to finish much better, but that last, the last 2 miles took me an hour to do, so that's how tough it was, but, and that's kind of what I was saying about the journey that you go through before you even get to the race, because absolutely, because when you can overcome those challenges and finish that journey, it does. You know that you can do it. You know that you had the mental toughness to fight through it and not quit, even though you maybe thought about it, you know, but you weren't about to do that because it's just too great, you know, too great of a race. And it's just like life. You can't quit. You gotta just keep pushing, you know.
I think Tim also touched on something, that you're not doing it alone. And I think that's a good life lesson. It's going to be hard, whatever it is, but you probably can have a better outcome if you're not alone. We had a lot of support from each other, but we're in a larger group. I noticed Jason's hat. We're part of the Muddy Water family, but also in this Paddle Monster family. So we got a lot of different kind of levels of support that help. So I think that's a big takeaway of, like, surround yourself with quality people who have a shared vision, and just know you can do it. So 2 of the big mantras are, number 1 was training works. Like, if you have intention and you want to do it, get out there and start trying hard and get it done. And second was love the conditions.
Yeah.
You know, life's going to throw it to you hard, and it's going to be curving, and it's probably raining. But, you know, that's what you have. That's what you have to work in. So I think one of Larry's thing was everybody else is having to deal with that. It's not just, life's not just coming at you. Everybody's getting nailed, but together we can power through. So
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you're out there and you're looking for a new group to hang with, if you're looking for a new sport, if you're looking for a new way to just relax, stand-up paddling's where it's at. Give us a call. Somehow, some way, figure out how to find me. It's very easy. Everybody knows about Facebook, Instagram, emails, Google. And we're back. Thank you so much.
Woohoo!
woo!